In this video, I want to talk about alcohol and alcoholism in the context of high conflict probate cases. And the reason I wanted to do this very specific, very niche video is that in more than 25 years of practicing law and doing probate cases, I have identified that I think alcohol lies at the heart of the vast majority of conflict in probate cases. And frankly, among lawyers, we talk about the fact that in high conflict everything, whether it be divorces or crime or whatever else, alcohol is almost always involved. I mean, the reality is, they say first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers. Well, if we just removed alcohol from the equation in our society, so many lawyers would be put out of business. So many courts would be put out of business. Because, again, one of the things in dealing with a practice where you're working with people on a day-to-day basis for decades, you see these commonalities that develop. And alcohol and alcoholism, particularly in probate, really rears its ugly head. I see it in both generations, if you will. Grandmom and granddad, oftentimes bad alcoholism, lots and lots of suppression in there. Dad came home, granddad came home from the war, whatever else. Lots of demons, and the way those demons were addressed were with alcohol. Mom suffered. Sometimes mom or grandmom, was part of it. She was drinking as well. And then that rolls down into the dysfunction of mom and dad in that generation. But trauma and alcohol go hand in hand. Trauma, alcohol, and those other factors, PTSD, go hand in hand into high conflict probate cases. One thing that I've been studying, I think is really interesting, is recognition of the problems associated with alcohol. A few years ago, I had a friend who's a researcher, a very high-level academic, and he was just publishing some of this groundbreaking, I guess, although to anybody in the medical community really wasn't. It talks about the profound and serious effects of alcohol, negative effects, cancers, blood pressure, all kinds of other things. That's now really becoming part of mainstream consciousness about how alcohol, not only emotional aspects, but very real health damage to our bodies. But according to 24 national surveys, 54% of Americans reported drinking in the past month. That's coming down a little bit. That's an interesting thing. Alcohol and alcohol use among youths is declining. That's a good thing. It's interesting. It's not a big movement behind it, if you will, in terms of an industry or something else like this. I think this truly is like a groundswell movement, unlike, think back to Nancy Reagan and the Don't Do Drugs thing, where that was very much a formal effort. You don't see much about, don't drink alcohol among the younger set, and yet alcohol use among teens and college-age kids is declining at a very, very rapid pace. That's being replaced with wellness and frankly, just good living. I got to believe that a lot of that has to do with the younger set looking at what happened in the donor class and mom and dad, grandma and granddad deciding we just don't want to be part of that. But where we see it in probate is, in the donor class, impaired judgment, decision-making before they even get around to making an estate, the dysfunction in the family that causes, memory dysfunction, volatile emotions, depression, anxiety. It pushes along cognitive decline. And so that really lies at the heart of some of these high conflict cases. Understanding the physical and mental effects of it, when granddad, grandma, whatever, lie in the hospital and they're withdrawn from alcohol, it's kind of in the acute situation. It can really make things a whole lot worse. If it's, that has been a cataclysmic factor in the death. There's some judgment aspects that are pushed along to that, which maybe aren't appropriate, but they become part of the problem. But again, the point that alcohol doesn't rarely exist in isolation. It's part of a bigger circle of things. Again, the veteran situation is really bad. Alcoholism, suicide, depression, all those things, huge among veterans. And one of the great failures of our nation is we put these people out there, veterans, having them do all these horrific things, and then the care for them on the other side is non-existent or bad. And again, I see that over and over again, particularly with this World War II generation. So why is alcoholism, and why am I talking about this in this particular video? Because if you're going to be a client or you're going through probate, and alcoholism is part of it, part of your family history, part of your family story, you need to understand why that plays a very real part in the conflict that we're dealing with right now. If we can get this on the table, particularly if we're dealing with a donor class, siblings or a mom or whatever that, experienced the alcohol, experienced the trauma, experienced this, it goes a long way towards resolving things, because we can remove that element. And some lawyers don't confront it. They just think their job is to push paper along and move it. I don't think so. I think my job is to get these factors on the table when they are impacting the court process and get them resolved. That's my experience, 25 years of doing this. Getting that stuff on the table, talking about it, helping these people through on the beneficiary side of things is the most important thing we can do to help resolve the case as quickly and effectively as possible. If this has been meaningful to you, please like and subscribe. If there's additional resources we can kick over to you to help you address these issues.